What up, Sauce Gang, and welcome back to the channel. Hot Sauce Beats here with something a little bit different for you guys. Well, we just got done reacting to Elden Ring's official launch trailer, and the game drops this Friday, and we're gonna be streaming it live on Twitch all weekend. I might even do a subathon out of it, but the game it's being hyped up. Everything's giving it 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, and it is being named the game of the century. That is right. And right now, we're gonna be reacting to IGN's Elden Ring review. They just uploaded it earlier today, and we're gonna check it out right now, fam. I'm beyond hyped. And if you enjoy my reaction, please help support the channel by smashing that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free and it greatly helps out the channel. And don't forget to follow me on Twitch at Hot Sauce Beats 402. But enough talking, let's get to reacting and roll that bomb ass intro.
Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Eat, sleep, make beats. Eat, sleep, make beats.
Hot Sauce Beats. Woo, woo. It's time, Elden Ring. Fam, just look at this. That world is huge.
In the 87 hours that it took me to beat Elden Ring, I was put through an absolute ringer of emotion.
God,
a fair amount of sorrow for the hundreds of thousands of lost EXP stolen by some of the toughest boss encounters From Software has ever conceived. A lot of anger, especially at these assholes. Ooh, I hate these guys.
What was that? Was that like a little crab? A crab demon? Was that a crab demon?
And exhilaration from finally getting through that battle that I had been stuck on for an hour. But more than anything else, I was in near constant awe from the many absolutely jaw-dropping vistas.
I'm in awe watching any video I find on this game. I'm in awe. Like this world, fam. This game is gonna set the gold standard of what open world games should be like.
The sheer scope of an absolutely enormous world,
it's gonna blow Zelda out of the water.
Harrowing enemies, and by the way in which Elden Ring nearly always found a way to reward my curiosity with either an interesting encounter, a valuable reward, or something even greater. From
he's like, yeah, come on, man, woo! God, I'm so hyped for
Software
this game.
takes the ball that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild got rolling and runs with it.
Boom, look at it. We on the same path, bruh. We on the same path.
Creating a fascinating and dense open world.
And the reason why I say, like, everyone knows, right? Zelda, I mean, like, it set the standard, right, of what we consider open world games should be like. I think this game's gonna rewrite it
about freedom and exploration above all else, while also somehow managing to seamlessly weave a full-on Dark Souls game into the middle of it. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that Elden Ring
That's just my happy
ended
sound
up
right
as
now.
one of the most unforgettable gaming experiences I've ever had.
Let's go. Let's go. Put a ring on it.
Must extinguish thy flame.
Bro.
To set the stage, all you know from the outset is that you play as a Tarnished of no renown, blessed by grace, and are compelled to make the journey to the lands between and become an Elden Lord. What that actually means, how one might go about doing that, and what the deal is with that giant glowing golden tree are all things that you have to discover for yourself. Like other FromSoft games, the grand story is hard to fully digest on the first playthrough, but it's a story that I nonetheless enjoyed trying to piece together for myself. It ended up being the organic side stories that kept me most enthralled rather than the grand overarching plot that credits Game of Thrones' George R.R. Martin as its scenario writer. FromSoft smartly doesn't change much in its approach to these from the Souls games, Bloodborne, or Sekiro. You'll just naturally meet characters as you explore and discover the world and become involved in their problems. There are no exclamation point markers on the map, no waypoints to guide you to them, and these characters don't always flag you down or initially want or need anything from you. They're just
Fam, that map is
people
insane.
with their own agendas and goals, whose stories are impacted based
that
on
map,
don't
bro.
always flag you down or initially want or need anything.
Bruh, this map though. Wow.
They're just people with their own agendas and goals, whose stories are impacted based on your own actions or inactions. That was actually kind of refreshing in an open world as vast as this one. And it was
Completely agree.
always exciting to see a familiar face pop up again later, as I was eager to learn about what brought them to this new part of the world and how their journey had progressed. The trade-off, of course, is that without
You say, I'm hunter of bloody fingers.
any markers, quest log, or journal, it becomes very easy to forget about certain plot threads and accidentally leave them unresolved by the end. That's a bummer, and I've already felt regret about missing out on stories that some of my colleagues have had, but for me it was worth it, because even after 87 hours, I never once felt the open world fatigue that usually sets in when my brain gets overloaded by a map absolutely full of unresolved side quest markers.
Very
Besides, any missed quests give me extra incentive to continue on to New Game Plus.
That was a big butcher knife. She could cut up a lot of meat with that. Freedom ring! That
Freedom
makes me
is
think
the
of
word that every
Braveheart. Freedom!
aspect of Elden Ring's design connects back to. From the moment you set foot in Limgrave, the first of many interconnected regions of the Lands Between, you are completely free to go wherever you want. And sure, that's far from a new concept in an open world game, but the way it's handled here is truly extraordinary. If you wanted to, you can be an explorer and spend hours upon hours in just Limgrave, delving into every mini-dungeon, fighting every boss, discovering every NPC, and leveling yourself up to better prepare for what's next. Alternatively, you could follow the Light of Grace, guiding you toward the main path and the first major dungeon. Or you could find a hidden path to a new region that's meant for higher levels and completely bypass the first major dungeon entirely. Maybe even steal yourself a cool weapon early while you're there. Again, this is not unprecedented.
That's a good idea, right? I mean, you could get some good stuff early, but at the same time, though, fam, I mean, if you're going ahead and you ain't leveled up yet, you're gonna be you ride on that struggle bus, fam.
But a few things set Elden Ring apart from games like Skyrim that provide a similar openness. For one, Elden Ring doesn't scale enemy levels to your own at all, so jumping into a later region means you're always dealing with stronger enemies.
I bet you that lobster tastes delicious, bro. I mean, that's an all-you-can-eat lobster buffet right there.
Making the risk-reward prospect of doing so very real. But perhaps more notably, the way its different areas are connected makes finding these new ones more than a simple matter of choosing a direction and heading towards it. Limgrave is designed very specifically with a main path in mind that takes you through Stormvale Castle, and finding a way around that feels like you've truly discovered a hidden passage or alternate route, which is a super cool feeling not present in most open world games I've explored. You also have more freedom in how you approach combat than any previous FromSoft game, thanks to a bunch of familiar new systems that are used in interesting ways here. You can crouch walk and use stealth to avoid detection, or more easily sneak up for a backstab. You can fight on horseback, you can craft items on the fly, you can summon a huge variety of creatures to fight for you, and most substantially, you can equip Ashes of War to your weapons and completely change their affinity and skill. The most important element of Elden Ring's philosophy, though, is the freedom to...
Are you really fighting? Is that Glintstone Dragon Smurf?
to just walk away and do something else when you hit a wall. Elden Ring is hard, which is to be expected from a FromSoft game. But its difficulty surprised me, even as a veteran of the Souls-like...
Oh my god, fam, these bosses look insane! Seriously, bruh!
Genre. I hit multiple points, even all the way up to the moment I reached the very last boss, where I had unlocked paths to several bosses and simply could not make headway on any of them. But even though I hit dead ends on those paths, there was always somewhere else I can go. A region I hadn't thoroughly explored, an NPC quest that I had set aside for later, a Light of Grace indicator that I had not yet followed. There was never a point in Elden Ring where I was at a complete loss of what to do, and every time I explored those other regions and followed those alternate paths, I would find new gear and items, level up my stats, or learn new spells or skills that would eventually give me the extra edge I needed to power through a boss that had given me problems.
Oh, bro, that is sick. Like, again, that's what makes this game so sick, is there isn't one way to beat it, one way to play it. You could play it any way you want. You know, just like he said, if he got stuck at a boss or something that he, kept dominating him, he'd go off on another quest. And then after he leveled up and got some new cool stuff, he'd come back and then dominate that boss. Wah, wah, wah. I don't know, I'm sorry. I'll stop doing that. I'm sorry. Lands Between.
It isn't just the promise of making my numbers go up that called me to turn over every stone on the map. The Lands Between is positively brimming with riches, intrigue, and danger at every turn. Much of what Elden Ring's open world does well can be traced directly back to things that made Breath of the Wild stand out from the many open world games that came before it. It's that same feeling of starting out in a world with little explicit guidance, finding something that piques your curiosity on your own, doing whatever it takes to get there, and then being rewarded for that curiosity. The big difference is that in Breath of the Wild, I could usually predict what's going to happen when I get to that orange glowy thing off in the distance. I'll do a puzzle, unearth a shrine, do another puzzle, and probably get a cool temporary weapon and spirit orb. That's not to take anything away from Breath of the Wild, it was awesome, but that pattern became somewhat routine by the end. In Elden Ring, by contrast, very rarely did my predictions ever come true. I'd head to a lake and all of a sudden get ambushed by a dragon. Follow a river expecting to collect some minor crafting materials, only to find a dungeon filled with enemies and traps. Enter a cave and get jumped by little goblin men. Or take a seemingly unimposing elevator and find that it just keeps going down further and further and further until, well, you'll have to get there yourself to find out. Best of all, each of these little excursions rewards your curiosity with something worthwhile. That could be a new weapon, a new Ash of War, a valuable consumable, a new creature for you to summon, a new spell, or a new NPC to talk to. There are so many valuable rewards available that I never felt disappointed by my prize, regardless of the amount of effort it took. But the thing that's most impressive about Elden Ring is that in between all of this brilliant open world design, there are a handful of legacy dungeons that still deliver those wide linear levels that Souls fans have come to expect.
Like, fam, this is unreal. It's like you're playing in a movie and you're the ruler of your own destiny, right? You know, if you watch any gamer on Twitch play this game, everyone's going to play it differently. Everyone will beat it differently. Each streamer, the way that you enjoy the content will be different. Like, there's no one way to do this game. This is, again, I think this is going to change. This is going to change the game. The industry, the gaming industry, all of it. It's going to be changed.
These are gigantic castles, forts, manors, underground labyrinths, and more that are packed with secret areas, challenging bosses, and multiple paths that are linked by one-way shortcut doors. If they were all strung together without being tied to an open world, they could probably exist on their own as Dark Souls 4. Bottom line, Elden Ring's open world exploration is a new benchmark. It's constantly exciting, rewarding, and full of moments that made me go, holy shit, in a host of different ways.
Let's go. So this is what I want to hear. I want to hear, what has changed about the combat, like from Dark Souls. Is it the exact same? What is different about this?
As far as combat goes, Elden Ring is certainly closest to Dark Souls 3 when compared to other games in From Software's library of action RPGs characterized by weighty attacks, careful stamina management, and a bit of a slower pace in games like Bloodborne and Sekiro. The two big new additions are the ability to use a guard counter by blocking an attack with your shield and then immediately pressing the strong attack button to follow up with a crushing strike that can leave weaker enemies in a crumpled state, and a jump attack that gives melee wielders a new type of heavy attack that can also be used to stun enemies and leave them open for a critical hit. They're both great additions that offer melee classes fun new tools, but for the most part, From Software has certainly adopted a if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach. What really makes the combat in Elden Ring so good, though, is its enemy design and variety. Not only are a fair number of them horrifying, but some of these baddies are absolutely vicious, coming at you with wild swings and combos that seemingly go on forever and can hit from 10 feet away.
Jeez,
yeah,
bruh.
Like that. And he's still going. Others are more methodical.
He's like, I'm dead, bro. Like, okay, you got me. I'm dead. And he's like,
and hide behind their shields to wait for the right opportunity to either parry you or catch you while you're winding up. Others still are weak, but can be huge threats when they ambush you with a grab that kills you in one hit. Many are designed to punish those who just mash the dodge roll button without care, which makes Elden Ring a very hard game. But it's a good style of difficulty. One that's less about fast reaction speeds and twitch reflexes, though those certainly help, and more about learning, adapting, and finding the planted weaknesses in enemy attack patterns. Deciphering those tells and acting upon each moment of opportunity is a large part of why these games are so much fun. And then there are the bosses. I don't want to spoil them, but there are a handful that are some of the most visually and mechanically impressive From Software has ever crafted.
Just flex it. All right, let's see. I want to hear it. Greatest game.
It is no exaggeration to say that Elden Ring is From Software's largest and most ambitious game yet, and that ambition has more than paid off. Even after 87 hours of blood, sweat, and tears that included some of the most challenging fights I've ever fought, and innumerable surprises, there are still bosses that I left on the table, secrets that I've yet to uncover, side quests that I missed out on, tons of weapons, spells, and skills I've never used. And this is all on top of PvP and cooperative play that I've barely been able to scratch the surface of. Throughout it all, while the fundamentals of combat haven't changed much from what we've seen before, the enormous variety of viciously designed enemies and the brutal but surmountable bosses have brought its battles to a new level.
I mean, fam, again, this dude, he spent 87 hours beating this game, and it sounds like he still has 87 more hours of just exploring and other bosses he didn't beat and other quests he didn't do. Like, it's literally endless, fam.
Even with all the threads I didn't manage to tug on my first playthrough, of which I'm sure there will be several, what I was treated to can easily be held among the best open world games I've ever played. Like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild before it, Elden Ring is one that we'll be looking back to as a game that moved the genre forward. For more Elden Ring, make sure to check out the first minutes of the game. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
First 19 minutes, huh? Let's peep it out, baby. Not right now, but we will. All right, fam. Let me bring you in. Let's talk about this. Let's get some tunes behind my voice, though, so it's not just my voice. We got some tunes, you know. All right, fam. Like I said, I'm beyond hype for this. Like, if I didn't have to work Friday, you know, maybe I came down the sick of the flu or something, you know, we would be playing this at midnight when this game drops, and we would start, like I said, I might do a subathon. I'm not quite sure. It's 24 hours, a long time to stay awake playing a game, but we're gonna be streaming this weekend, fam. We're gonna be playing a lot of this game, and I am beyond hype for this. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like George R. Martin wrote a movie and I'm in it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this game is. Like, you feel like you're immersed into this world, and just, you can do whatever. You can explore, go on adventures, and just do whatever, fam. And again, it's George R. Martin. He wrote Game of Thrones, the greatest TV show of all time. I love it. Last season was kind of sus, but you know, it is what it is. You can't just keep throwing up, you know, 10s out of 10s out of 10s. You know, he had to throw up like a 6. It just sucked. It was the final season. It was his 6. But anyways, that's a side note. I get sidetracked sometimes. Fam, I'm super stoked for this. And you know, again, let's give a round of applause to this dude. I don't know who he is, but at IGN that reviewed this. Like, he did an amazing job. I'm beyond hype for this. And reviewed by Mitchell Saltzman on PC. Yeah, good job, bro. You did an amazing review. You got me even more hyped for the game I was already beyond hype for. So, fam, if you enjoyed my reaction, please help support the channel by smashing that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free, and it greatly helps out the channel. And then if you want to see me streaming this game this weekend, follow me on Twitch/HotSauceBeats402. That's right, Hot Sauce Beats and then 402. I'll see you this weekend. I'm beyond hyped. Enjoy the rest of your night, and remember, it's eat, sleep, and make beats, and as usual, be kind to one another. And that's all I got. Boom! I'm out. Yeah! Gotta blow the talking. Woo! Love you, fam. Peace out.